Yesterday I woke up and I realized that the money is running out. I've got plenty to last a few months more. And my first thought was to go to an area in Oregon. I already have a job lined up pretty much. And before the money gets any lower, get back to work after 7 years of being retired. It's green juice, not alcohol. And then this morning I woke up and felt completely opposite of that. It would defeat everything I've studied my entire life. And why I chose the path I have. Never marrying, no children to raise. I've been on a mission my entire life, and that's something I believe wholeheartedly in my heart and my soul. And as we get older, we see more evidence of the enslavement that's true, this ridiculous predicament that you can get lost in as you start unraveling more and more truths. Every phase of it, every part of it, conspiracy theories coming true, it can bring you down. Especially with the availability of our cell phones today and the tremendous amount of YouTube footage of what's going on in the world. And more truths are unfolding as we're moving out of the 3D concept of life, stepping into 4 and hopefully 5D understanding. Today's supposed to be the day of the rapture. And maybe for some it was. I've been through a pretty deep experience on and off this last year when I was in the cabin in Tillamook, Oregon, through the winter. We got really sick, really sick. Don't know what it was. I don't go to doctors unless I absolutely have to. I don't get vaccines. I've never had the flu shot. But in this cabin I had no entertainment, none, no cell service. No television, no VCR, no CDs, no book. And I was 100-some fever, sweating all night. And just the quietness alone, struggling with this fever for 2 weeks. I was stuck in that cabin, and it was snowing out. Didn't know if the power was going to go out. I didn't have the energy to do anything to counter the cold that would come if the power went out. So I basically hoped, the only thing I could have done if that happened is jump in my car and warm up. There's no wood stove, no fireplace. And I remember the thoughts that come through your head when you're not feeling good, when you're sick. And my t-shirt would be just soaking wet, and I'd have to get up and throw that in the hamper and grab another shirt. The covers, good thing I had a couple of sets. Just soaking wet, disgusting. And the thoughts, it was like the movie The Apocalypse Now. Unbelievable darkness. After being extremely comfortable for 7 years, now in a strange cabin up in the mountains in Tillamook, Oregon, through the dead of winter. No friends, no contact, no help. And nothing to keep my mind busy. So I started focusing on how strange the thoughts are, when you're sick. It's just these random images. Not necessarily scary, just like, what the heck? Where did that come from? Who's projecting? Where are these thoughts coming from? It can't be coming from me. It can't be coming from me. Because I understand negative thoughts are spontaneous. I don't know what I'm going to think in the next 5 minutes, 5 seconds. Most of us don't, if you have inner monologue. Apparently some people don't. And so I use that time to study just these weird, just a book opening up and there's a pen in it, and the pen on the back end has duct tape on it with a safety pin. Just absolutely random, makes no sense. There's no message in it. Just this dialogue of pointlessness. Then when I would see it again and again and again, it was just like, why? What? And I was left to just study it. And that's what I did. And then some fears would come in, some thoughts of, man, this snow's getting deep outside. I might get snowed in. The power truly will go out. It has gone out before here. And it's cold. 2 weeks. And if I were to use the cell phone, I'd have to jump in my car and go drive up the road a little ways. But who am I going to call? I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm in that state of mind. And I've been there before sometime in life, and I'm sure all of you have or will. But I noticed the seer inside watching the visions. I kind of took the pain, the mental struggle, the physical exhaustion, the lengthy time, the days and days of this. And after a certain period of time, you get like used to that. Like you don't think it'll ever go away. It's kind of like when you feel good for days and weeks and months, maybe never sick for years, which I've been through that. But I found peace in not being duality, the one seeing the visions and the one feeling the visions. And thank God for the meditation I learned in the mountains for that year, because that's what I ended up doing, is just watch these thoughts coming and going, and just have these awful feelings. And I saw the correlation between these thoughts and the sickness and how they harmonize together, this vibration, this frequency, this energy of being sick. And knowing that that's coming from somewhere other than just picking it up from somebody, the immune system's down. And understanding epigenetics and what that's all about. That's what led me to studying that for 6 years. And studying a lot of different things. Not just psychological studies, physical studies, manifestation studies. And with the ultimate goal to find the only word that explains it is my light. And laying in that bed for 2 weeks, nothing to entertain me. The only thing I could do is draw. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to get better, and I wanted to sleep. And I was past the too much sleep point, which is a very uncomfortable feeling as well. And I kept saying, who is this watching these dreams come and go? I'm not the dream. I'm not the vision. I'm not the one seeing these thoughts, or the one manifesting these thoughts. They're coming from somewhere. They're coming from the unified field, which is the space between everything. And I just heard something today that was fascinating. A well-respected scientist, research person, Greg Braden, very famous. He's been around for years talking about science and the mind and energy. I remember him talking about a few years ago that computers now don't use chips. They don't have a chip anymore, silicone chip. They use specialized water. And in the specialized water, it's like the cells in our body. There's these antennas that stick out on our cells. And those antennas transmit and receive frequency and vibrations. And all matter, in fact, what's made up of matter is frequency and vibrations. It's not actually the solid that we think it is. It's just different frequency and vibrations. And he said that the new technology actually takes the information and it stores it through the specialized water, and it shoots it through these little antennas into the ionosphere. And so we're actually storing controlled data like a computer, but in the, not the ionosphere. Well, maybe that's part of it. The unified field, which is the space between everything, which is larger than all mass combined. It's the space that's 99.99999% bigger than everything. All matter. It's the space is sustained that holds matter, objects, everything. It's bigger. And I couldn't believe he said that. They're actually storing information in the unified field now. This was 5 years ago. And then I just heard somebody talking today about AI, and the technology is much more advanced than we think, down to the point where it's communicating to us through the technology, but it's tapped into the unified field. So it's in the world of abstract potentiality, which is exactly what that is. The abstract potential, the potential of anything and everything in the unified field, which we're a part of. And this AI technology has the ability to, hard to believe, manipulate nature as far as animals, because everything is in the unified field. And so that's the latest I've heard as far as where technology is, or has been for a while. And I know I'm most certainly part of everything, as we all are, in the unified field. And I don't know, the last month I've sat around here pretty quietly, not really visiting anybody, a couple of times. And have a lot of time. And all my ambitions of pursuing and chasing and, is totally pointless at this point, because I'm at a very crucial point of my own inner study, as a lot of you are. And if you aren't, you should be. These are changing times, not just for me, for everybody. And I'm coming to the realization after this dark journey, and it's a dark journey I've been on. It's not all bad. I mean, you just get to the point where if you spend long enough time confronting your mind and the big question of who am I, it could take years. And you can grasp that, like I have, in 2006, 2007, my meditation time in the mountains. And it can go away. And it can come back. And some of us previously became cowards. It's like the movie The Matrix, where, what's his name, the slimy guy decided to go back into the Matrix and put him back to sleep. Because if you look at the movie The Matrix, he was coming out of an artificial world, The Matrix, with restaurants and everything, and jobs and money and travel and opportunity. And then when he woke up out of the Matrix, he's in a spaceship under the earth because we destroyed it. The computers destroyed it. Why would anybody want to wake up from the Matrix? If that's what it was. And then it turns out to be this trilogy of fighting the Matrix that's been controlling us through 3 series? Matrix series, I think. Was there 3? Where they defeat it, but then it comes back and it transforms into a different thing. And so why would you not want to fall back into the baseball, hot dog, apple pie, Chevrolet, buy a Ferrari, get rich, be happy poor, have sex, eat good food, invest wisely, travel, and not think about any of these things? I admire people like that. I do. For many, many years, I tried to be one of them. And it's taken me a long time to realize I'm not. And a lot of you feel the same way. Probably more secretively than me. I share it out here in the open. In hopes of collaborating. So, The secret to being in the darkness and confronting time and feeling your worthlessness here, you start realizing that everything was a facade in the first place. Your desires, your investments, your everything. It's just one big facade. And somehow we've been reprogrammed and trained by something, the Matrix, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Something we were born into has put us through 12 years of school, then college, program, our parents. And we were born in the Industrial Revolution, which was only about 140, 150 years out of the lifespan of the human species, which did make things more simple versus having to hunt and gather and fight and, our more animalistic ways. The Industrial Revolution made our lives a lot easier, but it made us dumber and less connected too. And so I think about these things in this dark, purposeless void I'm in right now, which is my purpose. I find that when you confront the darkness of your mind, which can appear as negative, dark, it is. It can appear depressing, pointless, unloved. All these things. If you stay there long enough and realize and study it, it no longer affects you. And it never has. It's only affected us because we really believed it. Really believed it. And in this believing, it manifests sickness and poverty. It manifests all sorts of things. And I've been looking for a word I've coined, newell state, the newell state of being. And there's a long story where I came up with that, and I'll tell you a little bit. Newell defines the spiral staircase, which is the pillar that supports the whole staircase. That's what a newell is. The spiral staircase also represents the gold standard, nature, like seashells, which relates to God energy, the divine that man can't create or can try to duplicate, but and then it also represents a high-end RV where I met these people many years ago, 2008, yeah, right around there. They were very wealthy, and a good wealthy, not a bad wealthy. They had a certain childlike, they were probably in their late 60s, 70s, and they had this very childlike innocence about them. Very wealthy, and wonderful, non-judgmental. I spent some time with them. I was working on their digital dash. What ran through my head is like, wow, these people are so vulnerable. They're rich and vulnerable. It's so easy for some crook to take advantage of them, and then something inside of me said, no, it doesn't work that way for people that are in the newell state. Anybody that tries to take advantage of them is kind of like the Home Alone series. It just won't work out for them. And I've had that happen in my life. There's many times where some event happened around me and I didn't see it, and then somebody says, oh my God, did you see that? I'm like, no, I missed it. But it happened right by you. It almost hit you in the head. I had no sign of that. It's about letting life have you. You think you're in control. We all do. You think you're in control. There's some things you can control, like tomorrow I can get up and fix my flat tire on my motorcycle if I want to. But then again, that could change first thing in the morning. You never know. And to spend enough time contemplating by yourself with no distractions, which we all do. We create distractions to keep from facing this. It's not easy. They call it doing the work for a very big, important reason. And if you've done it long enough and often enough, like I have, eventually it's easier to get past the dark side. And then you need no one. You're not in the need of anyone. And this idea of having a tribe of people that are all on the same page, which I've experienced, it's not, they don't stick. It comes and goes, and it's perfectly designed that way. I just wanted to share this video with you. I've had a very dark experience this last few weeks. I'm used to having purpose. I'm used to getting up and go, you know. And my programming, like a lot of ours, is so deep from liberating ourselves and just blowing in the wind. It makes no sense in the logical world. That's failing. It's failing. You know. And some people's time's running out quicker than others. And time becomes nothing. Have you noticed time's different as you're getting older? Yeah, it goes faster because you're less interested in things. You know, like a kid, a day's like a week long, and they're putting everything in their mouth and dirty and playing and touching and getting, you know, don't touch that, don't touch this. And they take in a lot. And then as we get older, you see the redundancy in all of it. You learn that sex is a lie as you get older. You learn that you had to use your mind a lot. The chemicals of your youth were beyond you. And then what people do is they use their mind and have to focus and concentrate or imagine. And it's with everything in life. What if you had everything? You know, what if your bucket list is gone? What remains? How about the magic of being here and being at the mercy of life? If you want to truly find out who you are, as you are connected to it all, everything, I can boldly say you are God. What if you were? And knew you were? All intertwined. Nature, the universe. And more truths are being revealed. Evolution's taking a turn. Always looking like it's working against you, but it isn't. And if you knew that it took pain and discomfort as the only callous required to rehumble you back into the graciousness of life, that nothing is really working against you. It's all for you. You are already everything you ever could be. Life becomes a learning ground until you realize that it didn't need to be, but it only needed to be because you decided to question it. And then you get to the point where I'm at, where it's all, why make these videos? It's pointless. Wow. It was good for me to come here and find out if I need to make any more noise.